guys, it's Caleb. So in today's video I wanted to go through what's happening here on our property because I was scrolling through my YouTube channel the other day and I realized it's been 11 months since I updated you all with what's happening. And heaps has happened since that update. So for those of you who are new here, basically my partner and I bought this 2-acre block of land about a year and a half ago, and it was literally just a 2-acre paddock. There was nothing more to it but grass and an external boundary fence. We've since been developing it, getting it to the stage where we can move on to here and starting to now get into all the landscaping, which is the most exciting bit and the bit that I've been looking forward to the most out of all of it. But I wanted to go through basically all the things that we've done in the last 11 months since that last update. We'll start with the house build and then I'll take you around all the different areas that we've got going on outside. In terms of building a house, we decided to go for a transportable one. So one that was built off-site and then transported up onto the property. So the very first thing that we did was put in a driveway. So we got a big excavator in and we dug out the driveway and put in a heap of metal. We also got the house site leveled. We also had to go ahead and get all our services installed before the house arrived. It started off with putting in a septic system, so that involves putting in these big trenches and that all connects to our underground septic tank. We also had to get water tanks delivered and installed because we're fully reliant on rainwater here. So during the time that we were getting all this done, we also had to go down and look at the house and see its progress and also just make decisions on a few things. We were also coming out here on weekends and planting more fruit trees, building these little surrounds around the trees so the sheep wouldn't eat them, and just doing things like that we could so that we could have a few established trees or more established trees by the time that we moved in. So fast forward however long, the house was ready to finally move up to our place, and it got moved in the middle of the night, and it just so happened to be the windiest, the stormiest, the most horrible night ever. I think it was the worst storm that we had in all of 2019. So we were pretty stressed that night, but luckily it did arrive on time. The truck got a little bit stuck because it was so muddy after all the rain. So that was pretty much the house build in a nutshell, and obviously there was a huge amount that went into it behind the scenes. And if you guys want to know more about that, or you have any questions about like building your first home or something like that, drop it down in the comments and I'll do my best to answer those questions for you. I know that when we started this project it was kind of like we dumped ourselves into the deep end and kind of just waded through and figured it out as we went, and it definitely was kind of hard to figure out just the order of how to do things and how to approach the whole project. And there was actually a huge amount of things that did go pretty wrong during this project as well, but we worked through it and got there in the end. So yeah, if I can help out in any way by answering some questions, just let me know. So let's move on to the outside. I wanted to show you all the fruit trees that we've planted and show you some of the gardens that we've started to establish. So let's get into that now. So this is the area we're calling the food forest, and I've put down all this kind of topsoil because there was sort of bumps and low spots all through it, and I've just been using all of the sort of topsoil from the driveway that's over there and just kind of leveling it out a bit. But we've gone and put quite a few fruit trees through it, and we are planning to put a whole heap of mulch all through here, but we can't get any at the moment because we're in lockdown. And yeah, just put down all of that to create a forest floor and then be able to plant a whole heap of layers of trees all through here. We have planted veggies along the edge here, which you may have seen in a previous video that I've done, and that's going to hopefully create a bit of a windbreak that blocks all the wind coming through that way and also block out the neighbours. So along here are the very first trees that we planted, and these are all native trees. So we've planted a whole heap that are all kind of starting to grow up now, and as they get a bit bigger we are planning to kind of interplant and plant things underneath in those sheltered areas and just create a bit more biodiversity in the area. And this will hopefully help bring in maybe some more native wildlife to our place and also create a good wind shelter as well for our fruit trees. We do have another one of these native patches over the other side of the property, and that one's doing okay, but we did lose a few of the trees over the summer because we didn't actually have enough mulch to put around every one, and it was the ones that didn't have the mulch that seemed to suffer the most, obviously, because they just dry out so much. So over the next few months we're going to really start planting that out a lot more densely and get it going real good over the colder months, so it should be a lot more resilient next summer hopefully. Along from here we've planted a whole grove of gum trees. I think we've planted 30 of them. They're all very small because we bought them in bulk, but they do grow quite quickly, and the idea of them is just the same, basically wind shelter, privacy from neighbours, and also some good shade for the sheep as the trees get a bit bigger. This is my favourite area through here, and you can see all the wooden fences around the fruit trees, and that's because this was originally going to be part of the sheep's paddock, but we've since decided to reclaim the area and it's going to be like a phase 2 of the food forest. So we are going to continue working on it. As you can see, we've got a range of fruit trees through here. We're not going to cover this whole area in mulch like the other food forest. This one will just be maybe some islands of mulch to begin with, and then we'll just slowly extend it over time. I'm pretty excited though to develop this area because it's quite big and there's heaps of things that we can fit in here. So yeah, I'm just going to keep sort of slowly working away on it, and I'm sure our plans will kind of change and alter as time goes, but that's all part of it, so we'll just slowly kind of build it up as we go. I've planted some lucerne trees over by the native patch, and these are a legume and they're nitrogen fixing, so I was thinking of dotting them through the food forest as well to kind of just create a bit more wind shelter. Yes, wind is our biggest issue here, but also just like a bit more of a forest feel to the area. And then as we need more room and as the other trees grow up, we can kind of cut these back and you can use the leaves and branches as like a mulch, and because they're high in nitrogen, they'll be really good for the ground and for the trees as they break down. So recently we've been building some raised veggie gardens, and we've put in these 2 so far. We're planning to build some more of these as well over the next few months so that they get ready for the spring and summer times. Hopefully we'll have quite a lot of space to grow a whole heap of stuff this season. We are using like a no-dig garden method, so when we filled these up we basically just laid cardboard down and put in some topsoil, and then did some other layers as well, like some broken down leaves and some animal manure from our chickens and sheep, and then we've just laid a good thick layer of compost over the top. When we first moved here, we just used some tyres and put them on the ground, filled them with compost, and that worked perfectly fine. I actually grew some watermelons in them, and I've made a video of it if you want to check that out. And right now we've just got some spinach and spring onions and some herbs in here as well, just things that we use quite a lot of, and we are going to keep using these gardens for a bit longer because they do work pretty well. As for the rest of the property, we're going to pretty much just leave it in grass for our sheep, but we will put some trees around for them just for some shade and things like that. But we'll probably separate the areas into about 3 different paddocks for them so we can rotate them around. The only other bit is just around the water tanks. There's nothing planted here yet, but we are planning to put in a whole heap of native trees around there as well, just to keep the tanks shaded and a bit hidden. And we're thinking maybe around the sheltered side of the tank we might put a big patch of banana trees. We're not fully decided on that one yet, but we're keen to give it a go. I'm pretty sure that's all the areas I've shown you now, but I think in the future it's likely to change a little bit from what I've shown you as well. I think we're just going to wing it and see how things go. But yeah, it has been a challenge to try and create something from a fully blank canvas, but I think we're doing okay. I'd be keen to hear if you guys think the same. And if you guys have any ideas on like things that you reckon we should do here, like a type of tree you think we should plant or animal we should have, I don't know, something like that, let me know in the comments. I'd be keen to hear your ideas and suggestions, and maybe we'll be able to do some of those things. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe as well down below, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, have a good one, and I'll see you soon.